looking hopeful. "Good morning. I am all ready and waiting for my cooking lesson. You're going to show me how to make a cheese omelet. Remember, Jack didn't look up from the paper. Not today. Oh, come on, Jack, please," Jana wheedled, picking up a block of cheddar. "Come on, the cheese is ripe. You'll love it." Jack shot her a dark look. "What kind of a crack is that? What cheese? You mean I'm a mouse, not a man," Jack grumbled, tossing the newspaper onto the table. "Well, I don't blame you," Jana sighed, realizing the depth of his funk. "Jack, you've got to take the plastic wrap off before you dice it. Don't you know anything? Gee whiz, what's bugging you?" "I was just thinking of what a coward I was last night," Jack said quietly, his shoulders slumped. "I was yellow. Let's face it, I've got chicken in my blood. Even the kids at school could spot it. Fat Kenny Jensen would threaten to beat me up every morning unless I gave him a nickel." "What did you do?" Jana asked gently. "I put him through college," Jack replied miserably. "Oh, come on, Jack. You did the right thing last night," Jana insisted, pulling up a chair next to him. "Remember, he who fights and runs away lives to fight another day. Will you can it with the Proverbs?" Jack snapped, though there was no real heat behind it. "Besides, I didn't fight and run away. That's the whole point. He who doesn't fight and runs away lives to run another day. Me, I couldn't even beat up an egg." Meanwhile, downstairs in apartment 101, Stanley Roper was having a crisis of his own. He was pacing the living room floor, a hand clamped firmly to his jaw. "Oh, I'm in agony, Helen," Stanley whined, his face contorted in pain. "This tooth is killing me. But does anybody feel sorry for me?" "Yes, Stanley, you do," Helen deadpanned without looking up from the Sears catalog she was browsing. "Oh, you're a riot," Stanley sneered. "Why don't you show a little compassion? Why don't you go see your dentist?" Helen countered. "Because your toothache is giving me a pain. You wait much longer, and you'll be able to mail your teeth in." "That's cute," Stanley grumbled, massaging his cheek. "That's cute, Helen, the way you step on a guy when he's down. Look, Stanley, do me a favor and take a couple of aspirin. A couple of aspirin won't stop this pain," he exaggerated, groaning theatrically. "Then take the whole bottle," Helen suggested pleasantly. Stanley paused, glaring at her. "That could kill me." "You'd like that, wouldn't you, Miss Mary Widow?" "Only joking, Stanley," Helen smiled, finally looking up from the catalog. "But as long as you're looking, see if that nightie comes in black." Upstairs, Jack was still wallowing. He was looking at a comic strip where a small character dumped a can of paint on a larger bully. "Why couldn't I have done that?" Jack muttered to himself. "Because you can't draw," Chrissy said, walking into the room with a basket of laundry. "Besides, it's pretty hard to find a can of paint in a pub. All over the world, little guys are standing up to tyrants," Jack sighed, resting his chin on his hands. "But not me. Well, I hate violence, Chrissy said, pausing to fold a towel. In fact, my father always told us in his sermons, "He who lives by the sword shall die by the sword." Yeah, well, Jack stood up, pushing his chair in with a harsh scraping sound. You can tell your father that if I had been David, Goliath would still be alive today. He paced the room, his frustration reaching a boiling point. The memory of the giant's smirk, the way Jana and Chrissy had to handle the situation themselves, it all gnawed at his pride. He was a chef, an artist, a lover, but he was also a man. And right now, he felt like less of one. That does it, Jack announced, his voice suddenly hard. He grabbed his denim jacket off the hook by the door. Where are you going? Jana asked, alarmed. I'm going to the Regal Beagle, Jack said, his jaw set in a firm, uncharacteristic scowl. A man's got to do what a man's got to do. John Wayne rides again. Jack, don't, Chrissy cried, dropping the towel. You know Jana, and I would respect you a lot more if you don't fight him. It'll show that you're more a man than he is. More a man. Jack paused, his hand on the doorknob. Really? Yes. Jana agreed quickly. Well, Jack wavered, the bravado fading slightly. If he comes up and apologizes, I might let him off the hook. After all, I am a civilized kind of guy. But the fire was lit. He opened the door and marched out, leaving the girls to exchange a worried glance. Chapter 7, The Confrontation. The Regal Beagle was busier than usual for a Sunday evening. The jukebox was blaring a thumping bass line, and the air was thick with cigarette smoke. Jack walked through the swinging doors, his heart hammering against his ribs like a trapped bird. He scanned the room. It took only 3 seconds to spot him. The giant was sitting at a booth in the corner, nursing a whiskey, his massive shoulders taking up half the leather seating. Jack took a deep breath, puffed out his chest, and marched over. Hi, Jack said, his voice cracking slightly on the syllable. He cleared his throat and tried again, deeper this time. I wanted to talk to you. The giant looked up, his thick brows knitting together. He recognized Jack, and a cruel, mocking smile spread across his face. Yeah, what do you want? Runt, you come back to warn me again. I want to talk to you about last night, Jack said, planting his feet firmly on the sticky linoleum floor. He balled his hands into fists at his sides, hoping the man wouldn't notice they were trembling. The giant chuckled, a low, rumbling sound that vibrated in his chest. I thought I told you to stay away. You want to get hurt? Hey, man, Jack said, his voice rising, gaining volume as his adrenaline surged. You behaved like a creep in here last night, insulting women, spoiling people's evenings out, knocking drinks over. I think you owe someone an apology. The bar around them suddenly went quiet. A few patrons turned their heads, sensing the impending violence. The giant slowly put his glass down. He looked at Jack, really looked at him. And then something strange happened. The mocking smile faded from the giant's face. He looked at Jack's intense, wide-eyed stare, his rigid posture, the giant swallowed. Oh, the giant said softly, I'm really sorry. Jack blinked, completely thrown. He had prepared for a punch, for a